Putting on my top hat, tying up my white tie, brushing up my tail.
Welcome to Hatcast,
the podcast about hats.
I'm Charles Berman.
And I'm Carl Bernhardson.
And we're going to talk about hats.
Well, actually, today we're talking about ourselves.
We're going to talk about talking about hats.
Right.
This is the introductory semi-episode of Hatcast. We're not talking about a particular kind of hat on this program.
Although the format will usually involve us talking about a hat and then rating it for both style and practicality.
But it won't always have to, which is part, I think, of the intended charm of Hatcast.
Right, that we can do whatever we want and you have to listen to it.
We can do whatever we want, and you can freely decide to listen to it, actually. And I think we're supposed to be so charming that you decide to listen to it, which,
that is
unlikely as that may be.
Yeah, our charm is the real appeal. I mean, you may not have any interest in hats, but you're going to like us.
Yes. So what we're doing in this program is saying hello to you, welcoming you to the program, introducing the program. Listener, this is the program, this is the listener. And telling you a little bit of the ground rules of what we're going to do. We both like hats.
I like hats a lot.
I wear one just about whenever I go out, except if I'm just getting the mail sometimes or just taking the trash out.
And I wear one, I'd say, probably 75% of the time that I go outside.
Yeah. So we're both qualified in that we wear hats a lot to talk about hats from experience.
Not only have I worn hats, I've seen other people wear them too, which is a big part of this.
We talk about seeing hats in the wild, yeah.
Right.
But I think it's important to mention that neither of us is a hat professional.
No, I don't make hats.
Neither do I. I'm not a haberdasher. I'm not a hat peddler. Nothing of the kind. I'm not even a professional hat writer or hat reviewer.
No. We're not making any money doing this.
We're amateurs who have opinions about hats, who own heads, who wear hats.
You don't have to worry about the hat lobby having gotten to us, right? We did this of our own free will.
But it's polite to wear a hat in a lobby, I think.
This is true. You can wear it in the lobby. I would take it off once you go into the office.
Right, yeah, I think that's... But and this is, that was just right there, a small snippet of the kind of hat-related discussion that you might find on this program.
Very charming, infused with humor. You're going to love it.
Yeah, and we're going to mention kinds of hats. We're going to do individual episodes on types of hats. And I think that in the future, we'll even expand into other hat-related subjects.
Well, we're very excited to talk about things that some people might not consider hats.
Right. We might talk about the balaclava. We might talk about the yarmulke.
We might talk about a scarf, if you wear it as a hat.
That's a bit of a stretch, but you could put almost anything on your head.
Right. Well, we probably should have an episode just about things on your head.
Right, and we could say, is hair a hat? Right. I say no.
Well, what about a toupee?
Is a toupee a hat? We could do a whole episode on that. I feel like no.
Right. These are the kinds of questions that you can expect to come up.
Right.
And, come out of your speakers if you turn this podcast on from time to time.
Or indeed your headphones.
Or your headphones.
And
well, the speakers
in the headphones, yeah. And I would say that we could also talk about hat-related. A lot of etiquette has to do with hats.
Right, hat etiquette.
When to wear a hat. Well, someone once said, and I haven't done the research yet to find out who said it, that everyone should wear a hat so that they could take it off at the appropriate moment.
Huh. I wonder who said that.
That could be one of the things that's in store for you to find out when you listen to Hatcast, the podcast about hats.
And another thing that we want to encourage, not just listening, but engaging with us. If you have questions about hats, if you are a hat expert, we want to hear from you. We want your input. So far, we've had one person write to us and tell us about what they think.
Yeah, we want that number to expand.
Yeah, it could be 2, 3, 12,
and
dozens of people.
If you're a hat expert, I think we're open to doing interviews on the program.
Yes, of course.
If you have a hat-related product or service, get in touch with us. We'll talk about it. That's part of what the show is there for. This is not entirely an advertising venue, but if you have something to do with hats that you're discussing, if you happen to be making money from it, that's fine. The world of hats has long been intertwined with the world of commerce.
In fact, I think most hats that have been manufactured have been sold.
Have been done for money, yes. That's why people... Now, I don't know about most hats, because there's also a long, and I think good tradition, of homemade hat making.
Right, make your own hat. That's true.
And people make hats as gifts. And so there's a nexus here. But if you are a hat maker, we'd love to talk to you about your hat making experience. If you are marketing a hat, you can send it on over. We will wear the hat and we will talk about our experiences. We will be brutally honest.
Right.
With our
Not
experiences.
going to lie about your hat.
Because I don't think it is good practice to dissemble in our podcast.
No.
But if you're looking for exposure to your hat, my hat size is 7 3/8 to 7.5 usually, or about a 60 in European hat sizes.
And my hat size is about 7 1/4, I think. So that's I will,
smaller head.
yes,
yeah,
I do have a smaller head than Charles.
Now, if I'm wearing a hat that doesn't go by, and you see the one I'm wearing here is 7.5 or 61 in European sizes. Generally that's a little better for me because I have hair that goes around the edges of my head.
My hair's getting longer too. So when you send me hats, they will need to be a little bit larger.
Yeah, the more
we'll get the numbers up on the
more hair you have, the tighter your hat fits. That's not something you need to listen to a hat podcast to know.
Although you may not have realized it. It's little things like that you don't think about until you hear someone say it on a podcast.
Yeah. If you're got some hats and you're starting to wonder, these hats are tighter, you can't really gain that much weight on your head. What no. if the hat is fitting less well as time's passing, look at your hair may have grown. You can improve the sizing of your hat by a trip to the barber or hairdresser or hair salon.
This is true.
Yeah.
Now, they may want to know a little bit more about us, other than that we just happen to like hats and have access to a microphone.
We're in New York State, in the United States.
And this is going to influence some of the hats we talk about. We're going to talk about cold weather hats with some amount of authority because we wear them. It gets cold.
The weather interacts with the hat you choose to wear, inevitably. If there were no weather, there would be no hats. Because the weather contains the atmosphere and we would all be dead.
Like the old saying goes, hats exist at the intersection of culture and climate.
Yes. Who said that?
I might have just made it up.
Well, it is a few seconds old, and I think it's perfectly true. Maybe we'll talk about the laurel wreath. There are certain
You put that on your head?
Yeah.
Is it a hat, though? It's more of a crown. Is a crown a hat?
I think it's... Again, I'm leaning no on them, but I can see arguments towards them both. Yeah. The sweatband, the visor.
Wow. See, I cannot express to you how excited I am to go on this journey.
So much to talk about in the worlds of hats. We're going to go on it together, and we'd like to go on it with you. You can join in it silently just by downloading the episodes and listening to them, and I hope enjoying them. Or if you want to go on the voyage with us more noisily, email us at hatcast@yandex.com, hatcast@yandex.com. Now, this is a new podcast. We're just starting it now, which also means there's so much more for us to do. I also would like to set up a voicemail line so that you can call in.
Well, that way we could feature your comments.
Yeah, that you could be on the show. Your voice can be among our voices, and we can listen to it, which I think would be nice if you have some hat things to say. You could do a remote broadcast from a place wearing a hat. Let's say you go on vacation to Egypt. You could call us from Egypt on location, say, I'm wearing X kind of hat, and the weather here is very hot, and it's very sunny, but the hat is comfortable, and I can still see the pyramid.
That would be a very welcome call.
And imagine if you make that call, I will listen to it, I'll sit back and remember, gee, that's exactly what I said when I recorded the introduction to this podcast. You have gone to great lengths to recreate the example hypothetical call that I made up.
And now that they understand the call-in potential, I think that's really all we have to say about ourselves.
Yeah, as I said, we're not talking about specific hats yet. If you want to find out about specific hats, look wherever you found this podcast. See if there are other episodes. I'm pretty sure there will be. Download them and start listening. And if you enjoy them, you know what to do. Listen to more of them.
And maybe contact us.
If you want to.
Maybe send me a hat.
Well, that's all for now. Hope to be heard by you in the future.
Bye.
Bye.
Hello, my baby. Hello, my honey. Hello, my ragtime girl. Send me a kiss by wire. Honey, my heart's on fire.